Hey, welcome to another episode of the You Only Live Once Life and Business Innovation Style Meditations, yummy meditations and yummy talks where I, Ying Han, will bring you some very interesting ways of dealing with your mindsets to create yummy experiences in your life. So, as always, you can find the more details in the Chinese book, 活出自我, or the English version, You Only Live Once, in the links right below. And also remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And today we're going to talk about negative thoughts, how to get rid of negative thoughts in your life. So the biggest challenge is that negative thoughts, when we're not prepared for them, can really hinder our entire experience of our lives, including our relationships, including our work life, including our home life, family relationships, and all kinds of different areas of our lives. And it can also influence our success, our capabilities, our productivity, as well as our prospects for a better future. And so what are negative thoughts? So in this video, we're going to learn about what they are, 3 ways in how to release and remove them from our system, and then most importantly, how to do that effectively and how to be able to not only remove them in the moment, but also reduce the grasp it has on us so that it doesn't happen again. So what are negative thoughts? Negative thoughts are any kind of thoughts that make you feel bad. And that is just a really easy way to describe that. If you hear about something and you have an emotional reaction to it and it makes you feel sad or low or bad or less than something or makes you feel defensive, those are all considered as negative thoughts. And so they can come in the form of triggers, such as someone said something. It can come in the form of a response when you're scrolling through social media and you're looking at other people. Jealousy is considered a negative thought. Comparison energy is negative, because the reason for that is that you are actually not operating at your true capability, or you're not feeling confident. And that is another way of responding negatively towards something. Of course, negative thought also comes in the scenario of anger or other emotions such as sadness, or situations where you are looking at the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. Not to say that all negative thoughts are bad, but when the negative thought starts compounding, and creating this feeling of anxiety, resentment, confusion, or even overwhelmment, that can really lead to some very negative behaviors. So, how do we remove negative thoughts? Because when they become an inability, or they become something that overtakes what we are in control of, they can actually really hinder our progress. And the challenge is that most people don't even know that they are in the process of having these negative thoughts be a part of their habits. But you're watching this video, so I'm guessing you want to know how to get rid of them. So the easiest way to get rid of the negative thoughts is identifying what they actually are. So writing down every single negative thought that you have in your mind and knowing exactly what they are. And then second step is to drill down into them. So second step is to look at, okay, I feel negative about this proposal or this presentation that I'm writing, and therefore I'm having resistance and procrastination. But what exactly am I actually feeling here that is stopping me from moving forward? So you drill down. What is the biggest fear, and what's the worst case scenario if this thing does not go as planned, or what is my worst case scenario? So the second thing is to ask, what is the biggest fear? Or B, what is the worst case scenario? Because sometimes these negative thoughts actually have this crazy grasp on us that actually means that it's a gloom and doom situation that comes out. I'll give you an example. So for example, if you are procrastinating on a proposal, and I take that as an example because it just happened in one of my conversations with my clients this afternoon, is that there's a resistance, right? It's something that you really want, but you're not doing something about that. And the reason is unknown. So you ask, okay, what is the worst case scenario if this actually goes through? Or just is the worst case scenario that this does not go through? What is the worst case scenario? So she said, okay, the worst case scenario is, well, I feel like, if I don't put it through, then I'm not going to make the money that I want to in the proposal, which, could be like 5-6 figures. But if I do put the proposal through and it does not go through, then the worst case scenario is I actually, my worst fear is that people are not perceiving and valuing my work. And then we go that, okay, well then what is the biggest fear beyond that? Like, so if people don't perceive you and value your work, regardless of whether that is true or not true, because our mind tells us really crazy things to stop us from moving forward. So we just ask and continue asking and digging in. Okay, so if that were true, like what is the worst case scenario of that? Okay, well the worst case scenario of that is that nobody is going to want to work with me. And that's like something that a mind also comes up with, right? Okay, well then nobody wants to work with you. Then what's the worst case scenario of that? Well, if no one wants to work with me, then she says, then I will just have no clients and I will just have to give up my entrepreneurial journey and go back into work and corporate life. Okay, well then what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen if you go back to corporate life and give up your entrepreneurial journey? Oh, well then she said, my identity as an entrepreneur will be ruined and I will be a failure and everyone will look down on me and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we continued exploring this whole cycle of what is the worst case scenario and what is the worst case scenario, which you can do too on paper, into discovering what that worst case scenario is, and to the point where you realize that, what, there actually might be an upside to this. Because at the end of our conversation for this particular client, like we decided, or she came up with the fact that, what, if I went back to corporate, then I'm actually going to, like, what's the worst case scenario of that? I'm going to lose all the freedom that I have right now as an entrepreneur that's traveling the world and serving people, doing the things that I love and impacting lives. And I would just lose that freedom. So the freedom was actually the worst case scenario that she's going to lose. And then we're like, okay, then what's the worst case scenario of losing that freedom? And she said, actually, if I went back to corporate, I could actually really learn the ropes quite quickly, and then through that figure out how to utilize my resources in a way that can not only support the team but also find ways to find alignment with the impact that I do want to make in my life. And then we were like, all right, then what's the worst case scenario of that? And she's like, actually it's not too bad. And then she said, but hold on a second. Actually, if I really was gloomed and doomed and was bankrupt and everything and I have nothing left, I might just find an adventure to do. And I might just actually look at my bucket list and do the thing that I really want to do, travel to the place that I really want to travel and find if there's a way to collaborate with people there and earn money in a different way. And so then we start going upwards. The moment you hit the rock bottom of your worst case scenario, there is a point in which it flips and it changes all of the perspectives and the mindset that you have. So don't be afraid to face your worst case scenarios. Don't be afraid to look into them and dig deep. And honestly, this is one of the most powerful tools that I've been using with my clients, not just one, but many, especially when you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, especially when you are facing these negative thoughts. There is a root and a plug, just like in the bathtub. That plug, when you find that and you pull it out, you will drain the negative energy. So that's number 2. All right. And the third way to release these negative emotions is actually by proactively doing that. And proactivity in which you can do that is so many ways, right? Like we've talked about so many on this channel already, like exercise, mindset work. But the most effective one that I have found so far is microcurrents, number 1, which is electrical impulses that are sent through your body. And we have emotional programs on it. This is a device, a home device that you can use now at home versus the one that is, available in clinics. And I will have more videos and more information on that. But all you need to know is that there are ways to physically change your cells in order for you to also mentally and emotionally respond in a positive way. And then the second one, you can find more about this information in the link below, and the Healy link. I'll send you more info on that soon. And then the second way of reducing the emotional negative feelings is meditations. You know, like meditation is just like a toothbrushing habitual exercise for you to not only reset your mind in the present moment, but also find ways for you to reset all the past behaviors and past patterns that you have been using that created these negative thoughts to begin with. And the biggest challenge for people is change. Like, I have had so many people come to me and tell me that they actually don't want to change. And so when you are dealing with your negative thoughts, the question that you need to ask yourself is, are you actually ready to release this set of negative thoughts? And are you actually willing to do what it takes to change this behavior? Are you holding on to this negative thoughts and this pattern of thinking negatively for any particular reason? Does this give you any hidden benefits, or are you actually ready to transform? So if you are ready to transform these negative thoughts once and for all, put down in the comments hashtag ready now, or I'm ready, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you are super ready and you are knowing that you don't need these negative thoughts in your life anymore, I highly recommend you find some meditations that relate to reducing the negative thoughts and just processing it. Do the steps 1, 2, and 3, and that gives you a triple whammy to reduce and to take away those negative thoughts once and for all. Of course, if you have deeper issues that surface as you're creating and going through these procedures and exercises and fun ways of reducing it, there are so much more support available for you. There is so much support available for you. So reach out, and I can more than happily introduce or recommend people or activities that can further support this process for you. But other than that, take care. These are more than enough things that are simple and easily executable, practical steps to reduce your negative thoughts. And I'll talk to you soon. Subscribe, comment, and I love you so much. Happy days, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.